All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Sound check on 1, 2. Oh. Goog. What's going on, Joe? All right. Markets are kind of disappointing this morning, I think. I was actually looking for a little bit bigger move this morning than what I think we're seeing. So let's kind of take a look here. I'll pull up Forex Factory real quick. There's nothing else going on today. We had the 8:30 PPI numbers there, and pretty much a non-event from those at this point, and now there's really nothing left on the board for today. All right, that's cool. Hold on. There we go. Maybe. Can we get this back? Thank you. Hold up. I don't know why this does this sometimes. Depending on like which window I drag up there, it'll like minimize all my windows. Have not figured out what the reason is behind that. But you guys like my default Windows desktop background? All right, cool. Got all my windows back open now, so let's take a look at where we're currently trading at kind of across the board here. We've got S&P is up 0.19%, NASDAQ up 0.13%, Russell up 0.21%, and the Dow up 0.27% here so far this morning. So again, coming into today, the Dow again is the leader. It's at 27,151. This thing has just been an absolute powerhouse. Traded as high as 27,181s in the overnight session, about 30 points higher, about 6:30 or so this morning. And S&P's got as high as 30,1275s, and the NASDAQ weaker though, 79,4775. So unable to actually get through yesterday's high, to whereas the S&Ps and the Dow were able to do so. So let's run through here, kind of take a look at some levels and see where we're currently sitting at with this market. Right now, what I'm watching for here in the S&Ps is we've got a nice little uptrend working here. We're trying to base a little bit sideways here around this $3,000 number, but getting a decent little breakout this morning. Yesterday's opening print here, 300375s, pretty important there. When we did get that last little spike above that level at the end of the day there in the last little bit there for a close at 04 quarters here. And essentially at this point, any kind of pullbacks this morning to, kind of 3004s, 3003, somewhere in that range. I'm just going to go ahead and put a level in right here and split the difference, call it 300350s. I think are going to be a good buying opportunity for the day. We've got so far overnight range of 10 points in the S&Ps. I don't think, this is the day to go, extremely aggressive. I don't think it's the day to go, larger size. I think it's the day where if we get one or two little trade opportunities, for 4 to 6 points in the S&Ps, and we can get those and get targets on those, I think that's going to be about all we get on the day so far. Like I said, and we'll go through this in a minute, but NASDAQ here weaker and Dow stronger and all that. So that pairs trade actually from the other day would have worked out really, really nicely here. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But pullbacks on S&Ps here, 300350s. Kind of pay attention to that area as well. If for whatever reason on the day, which I don't see this happening, we crack under 94 quarters, that should get us 91 quarters pretty quickly. And if we do that, then I think we can, get some more action to the downside from that. Otherwise, I'm not looking to short this market today. Even if we don't get pullbacks to 30s or 350s and we get climactic to the upside, I'm not really going to look to short this market there in the S&Ps. As for the NASDAQ here, NASDAQ's got an overnight range here of about 35 points, 36 points or so there. And we're really gapping kind of right up into current print 7930s. So we're really just gapping up into the middle of yesterday's range here. You can see highs 79.57, 75s. Lows come in down here at 78.94 quarters, which we got actually really, really close to these lower levels in place down here. But NASDAQ here, gapping middle of the range. If we stay pretty much contained in the NASDAQ today, what is going on here? If we stay pretty much contained inside of 79.50 50s to 79.02, so 48-point range in there, then I'm not going to look to do hardly anything at all with the NASDAQ. In fact, if we stay inside that range, I'm not going to do anything with the NASDAQ. There is a possibility here where we could maybe set up a Nadex trade where we're selling above, buying below, and just kind of looking to see, if we're right smack dab in the middle of this, what those prices end up looking like, and that kind of covers us from both directions there. I think that the NASDAQ is going to be fairly range bound again today. It was, essentially for the most part range bound on Wednesday, for the most part range bound on Thursday, and then I think we're just kind of broadening that range a bit today, and we'll stay kind of somewhere inside of that again as well. Overnight highs 47.75s, so couldn't quite get up to this level. Overnight lows 11.75s, couldn't quite get down to this level. And at this moment in time, I don't see any reason why NASDAQ would, in fact, go pretty much anywhere until it breaks one way or the other, and most likely ends up kind of closing somewhere in and around, 10 points or so from this 79.30 level. And that's why I'll look at a Nadex position in there. I think at the moment, that is going to be my best looking trade on the board, at least for Nadex here so far this morning. And then moving over to the Russell here. Russell still got those 1570 70s in place up there that are going to need a break. We can actually add a few more levels in here now. One of those coming in right up here at 6320s. And we're currently gapping to 6340s at the moment. And then another level down here at 1556s. And Russell has overnight highs 65.30s down to 59s. So we got a 6-point range so far in the overnight session for the Russell. Use this 63.20 as kind of a line in the sand, bullish above, bearish below. Depending on where if we open pretty much right where we're at right now, we're opening right on that level. If we're under that level, then, I think that longs are kind of off the table, and, we'll bounce around in between here and 56s. Essentially, in order to go higher, we're going to need to break that 63.20s. So if we are able to get above it and hold above it, then I think we do have a shot at running up to 1570.90s there. And the opening print from yesterday of 70.70s, kind of all that stuff coming together right there. Again, risk reward I think is going to be a little bit of an issue there. It's like 7 points to target. The Russell whips, 2 and 3 points at a click there. So I don't know that the risk reward on that trade will be all that great. But if it does in fact set up and the risk reward is there, then I'm not opposed to taking a long in the Russell here for a move up into 1570.90. It is not my favorite trade on the day, but it is definitely an opportunity that is on the board. Next up is going to be the Dow here, and the Dow is probably by far the favorite here. We are getting a really nice move off these 26.9 26s. That was the breakout point. We gapped above it yesterday, sold off right into it. We pushed through about 16 points there, and unfortunately missed this trade, but rallied up. Beautiful hourly pullback there. 2-bar pullback triggers the hourly buy setup, and we just keep pushing higher right there. So that is picture perfect trend trading after the breakout here in the Dow, and again tacking on another 74 points this morning in the Dow here. And we're in uncharted territory. We're in completely new waters here for the Dow. 27,151 is kind of up in here. As you can see, there's nothing else back here on the chart that we can pull from. These are new all-time highs here we're going to be running into. And if we take a look at the DIA here, you can see the same exact thing. So DIA here, actually we'll go to max weekly chart. And you can see we're breaking out basically of a year and a half, almost 2 years worth of kind of consolidation up here, or at least attempts at this 267 level. And we're finally pushing through that. 1 test, 2 test, 3 test, came back up for the 4th test, and then finally we're able to hold and stay, keep closes above, and then now we're just kind of continuing to push higher here. So I do think Dow probably ends up closing at new all-time highs today. Dow is the strongest market on the board here. It is getting the new highs on the gap up, as well as S&Ps will be close on that as well. So on the Dow, unfortunately, we just don't have good, there's not really good pullback entries in here. So what we're going to have to do is, number one is under 26,995s, then we leave the Dow alone. Again, I don't see that level trading today. That would be probably the farthest thing from what I would anticipate as being reality on today. I would actually, I think there's a less chance of this happening than there is of, I think there's a less chance of Nasdaq trading up to 8,000 than there is this actually breaking on the day, 26,995s. So again, it's only 150 points from here, but it's just not something I see as being a reality today with this chart pattern and the strength and the gap up and the rest of the markets. So what I'm going to be looking to do today, much the same as yesterday, which is looking for 5 and 15-minute trends here, obviously to the upside in the Dow, and look to continue to ride this to wherever it is it wants to go. We had a range yesterday of 171 points from the gap up. Now we're gapping up about 70 points this morning. So that means the Dow has the potential to move about 100 points. And that's the one that I want to focus on today. The Dow has the strength, it has the room. It's proven that it has the movement and ability to get the move that we want to see. And it's already had basically 110 points worth of range so far in the overnight session. And that's the one that I want to focus my attention to or on today. So lows of 2707s, 27070s right here. So we barely even pulled back in the overnight session here for the Dow. Highs up there, like I said, 27,181s. And I do think those 181s most likely get taken out here today, and we push up, 27,200 or wherever this market ends up going. So I'll just trail that position if we're able to catch a nice little trend there in the Dow to the long side. So Dow is my favorite here in terms of trading futures. S&Ps I will look at with a pullback to that 300-350 area. The Nasdaq I'm not as sold on a long and or a short position in there. I think that market is most likely going to be range bound. If for whatever reason it proves me wrong and we start getting above 79.50s and change up there, then I'll start looking at it and give it a real eye and see if it wants to be a contender there. Otherwise, I think that's my favorite Nadex trade for the day. It's kind of bracketing the Nasdaq, which we'll see if we can do that. And then the Russell there over the 6320s. Again, we're kind of hanging right at that level right now. So I would prefer to see a push down at the open in the Russell and then a rally back to that level and then it start the uptrend. Because if we just kind of rip right off the open, then I'm not going to be able to do anything with that in the Russell, which again, I don't see that ripping right off the open either way. So I'd like to see that a little bit of a pullback in the Russell, set its kind of little V bottom low about 935, 940, and then from there start working its way back up to the 6320s and break out. Hopefully at that time we've got a good established trend in the Dow and we can pick up simultaneous positions in both the Dow and or the Russell there. So that's what I'm going to be looking to do. I'm not looking to do too much here with gold or crude. Crude has about a 60-cent range in the overnight session. Gold's got about $1 or $10 range in the overnight session. And I'm not liking the action that I'm seeing in there. Both of those, especially gold, are kind of back into that range bound, area that I don't like to mess with here. It looks good. It looked like we had, maybe the right idea here. We're going to break out over these 14, 1360s. We got the pullbacks. Watched for this pullback here yesterday. I thought maybe we'll kind of crack here, get a failure to go lower. We didn't. We cracked, but then got confirmation closes beneath that level and then continue to sell off there a little bit. So we'll see here. This level is pretty much about the same here, 14, 13, 60s. So we'll see if gold pushes back up there again today. But it is Friday. So far, a fairly small week. I think total in the week, I'm only up about $1,100 or so here. And most of that coming from the options market and very little of it coming from the futures market. So, and a very little of it coming from Nadex as well. So these are those moments and times, and Kaylin was talking about it in the room the other day, where when we kind of end up in this choppy trend situation here, the market looks like it wants to go higher, then looks like it wants to go lower, then looks like maybe it's going to hold, and then looks like it's going to break. All these kind of things where we're changing the trend, which we were talking about. I think that was Tuesday, where we had to kind of hold down there those 6150s. We traded 6350s in the S&Ps, a little bit of a front run. All those kind of things coming together. I'm very easy, chill going during that time because I know that the trades just are not there for what it is that I like to look for, at least. So I'm fine with having a slow week or two during the midst of a trend change, and then being able to capture the rest of the trend the other 3 weeks, 4 weeks out of the month there. So that's what I got for you guys so far this morning. I'll be back in just a couple seconds here for everyone that's in the MLT Discord. If you are new around here, you want to join me in the MLT Discord, there is a link in the description below. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button. Go live each and every morning about 9 o'clock, sharing my thoughts and analysis with you guys. Really appreciate all you guys coming in and hanging out. So give me a thumbs up on this video, and I will see you guys back here in just a few moments. If I don't, you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys back here next week.